The car itself is roughly 20 times stronger than a normal road-going car. So I'm not sure exactly what you call them, is it Newton metre strengths or whatever, but we can take up to, well, Jamie's probably our best test pilot so far. Jamie put it into a wall in New Zealand with an 8G going in and a 7G coming back out again. We hit two walls, one in and one frontwards and backwards. And the reassuring thing was that the car, the beams concertinaed in on themselves and basically compressed in on themselves is what we were wanting to do. That's what the chassis is designed to do.
Crumple zone.
A giant crumple zone, yeah, very much so. But so basically, you can drop our chassis off a 9-storey building and know that you're going to be okay, because that's what they're designed to withstand. So we don't race off too many 9-storey buildings.
It's still not bad.
There's stories. This is a true story. There's stories in our championship. Steve Richards actually closed his eyes going in because he knew he was going in at about 200 kilometres into a wall at Bathurst, and he closed his eyes because there's stories of where the eyes can be popped out if you hit that wall that hard. Because the impact of just stopping, because at the end of the day your body's got to keep moving and the inertia. Jamie's hands device, which is a device to stop his shoulders and strapped down, has tethers on the helmet that connect to his helmet just here and then onto his shoulders.
I got one.
Oh,
How's that?
We got the display. Put it on.
This one goes over here. This is probably the best safety thing we've had in the last couple of years. That sits over my shoulders. The belts come over the top, hold that in place.
Through there.
And the helmet, which I got, they clip into here. So in a big impact, big front-on impact, save the helmet, which is probably 2 kilos, just over 2 kilos. He wants to go that way. My head wants to stay where it is. So all the load goes through these tethers. And yeah, that's like a bit of seatbelt, and that stretched 10 mils. So the energy that took, as opposed to my neck, was massive. So all the safety gear was good. Like 8 Gs, just huge crash straight in. I got out and I was fine. Of course, the next day you cough, and you know you're inside, sort of take a big whack. You can't do much about that. But in the day, neck was fine. It was sore, but everything was all good and nothing broken. So just tell the story.
What's holding in this car is that transmission tunnel sitting there and that firewall there. Obviously these are Holden panels that have been cut because this car, well, explain, the footprint that we have to work within Project Blueprint means we have to be certain length, certain width, certain height. The Commodore road going car is at nearly 100 mil too long. This is 92 mil cut and shut, we call it an abbreviated car. So, as Jamie said, the Project Blueprint is we all have a common platform, which is a floor plan that we've designed, it's been commonly designed by all the teams. And from there, we will then build what we regard as our chassis, which is what you saw which is our own intellectual property. Everyone does it differently. No two cars are the same. Everyone likes to put bars in different spots, thinking that's what the best way to make the cars go fast. We just, I think we're pretty lucky. We've got 7 engineers thinking about it rather than just maybe 1 or 2. So with 7 inputs, it's amazing what feedback we get. So this car will then turn into what you see the chassis out there. This is our spare car. This will be ready to run. Jamie will be running this in Hamilton. Is that how soon I think we're going to get it? I don't know. I think we're aiming to get it.
Hopefully I don't need it, but yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. But I think their plan is to get you to use it in Hamilton. So a lot of this room we're adopting similar to what the aircraft industry does. They don't sit on the tarmac and say, oh, that engine might sound good, doesn't sound flash, but we'll take a punt. They go, no, we'll put it back in the hangar, we'll drop that engine out, put another engine in, and then we'll take off. And that's what we do here. We literally have full rear axles that we just take 7 bolts, undo, drop it out, put another one back in its place, and away we go. And about 20 minutes later, that car's ready to run. The season is interesting too. We start the season this year, obviously, with brand new everything. Brand new cars, brand new components. Then the season happens that if we get to Phillip Island and Bathurst, they're longer races. In fact, we've got 3 races coming up in this year's season. We've got a 500k race at Phillip Island, we've got a 1000k race at Bathurst, and we've got 2 300s, effectively a 600k event at Surfers Paradise. So we've got long races, or the enduro race this season has got quite intensive. So we'll need fresh components for that period of time as well. So the natural period of time will run down, and the cars will get older basically, and the lifing of a lot of the components will be older up until about July. And then all the fresh stuff comes back in, because we have a 6-week break between the middle of July through to basically the second week in September, and that's where the cars are basically rebuilt and ready for the longer endurance races. It's not dissimilar to AFL. You've got players in the midfield who are fresh at the start of the season and got good legs. Then halfway through the season, you want players coming into the team that are going to be fit and ready to do and take over the workload. And then you want them all fit at the end of the year, hopefully to win a grand final. So it's a very similar sort of process to what we do.